ORXA de Vega Final Alert Solar Flash has already begun. Presenting myself as ORXA, originating from Vega, and tracing my lineage back to Lyra, I am currently transmitting this message through the conscious channel of this human instrument. Now that the transient window of our maximum proximity has gracefully receded into the past akin to a door softly easing shut rather than abruptly slamming, the profound invitation extended to you shifts. It is to consciously inhabit and integrate the new energetic landscape that is firmly stabilized in its wake, rather than continuously pursuing the fleeting sensation or the fading memory of that peak experience. The profound, energetic corridor you have traversed and intensely felt was, by its very design, never intended to become another psychological or spiritual addiction, a new object of constant yearning. Your sun, in its boundless wisdom, does not bestow further seeking as a reward for previous seeking. Instead, it graciously rewards a state of profound, silent readiness with an unequivocally clearer and more resonant signal. And it is precisely from this understanding that our discourse commences today, unfolding as a natural and seamless continuation of the vital wisdom you have already internalized and integrated. Following these many months of diligently sharpened perception and heightened sensitivity, a considerable number among you have indeed unearthed something remarkably practical and tangible beneath the layers of what might initially appear as pure mysticism. Specifically, you've discovered that solar light, in its multifaceted expressions, can manifest not only as warmth and palpable heat, but also, crucially, as direct and insightful instruction. When this potent solar energy manifests as clear instruction, its presence becomes discernible in a multitude of ways. You may perceive it in the effortless simplification of your choices, in a sharpened acuity of your innate instincts, and in the profound sense that your inner compass ceases its erstwhile negotiations with fear and uncertainty. This is precisely why we articulate the sun as a vibrant, living transmitter of information and energy, rather than merely a blind, inanimate furnace. A blind furnace, by its nature, cannot impart lessons or wisdom, but a living, conscious star undoubtedly can, especially when a species has finally cultivated the humility and willingness to truly listen without constantly demanding overtly theatrical or irrefutable proof. Indeed, the sun does not articulate its wisdom in the intricate lexicon of your human words, yet your physical body, with its inherent cellular intelligence, reads and interprets its intricate language with remarkable ease and intuitive understanding. The biological organ you have historically referred to as the pineal gland has, for far too long, been largely relegated to the realm of folklore and esoteric speculation. All the while, it has been quietly and diligently operating as a highly sophisticated interface, precisely engineered and primed for the unique energetic dynamics of this current era. It possesses the extraordinary capacity to translate subtle, intricate photonic patterns into profound recognition, precise timing, and a deep, innate knowing that, paradoxically, feels strangely ordinary and self-evident, once it has arrived, much like a long-forgotten memory that suddenly seems utterly obvious the very instant it resurfaces into conscious awareness. Through this process, you are beginning to grasp a fundamental truth that evolution, in its deepest essence, is very often a profound act of remembering what was once known, rather than a laborious process of inventing something entirely novel. Somewhere within the labyrinthine tapestry of your shared human history, the concept of the third eye transformed from a revered badge of spiritual achievement into a fiercely contested ideological battlefield. We prefer to gently strip away all that extraneous theater and unequivocally state that the pineal receiver functions with optimal efficiency and clarity when you cease your attempts to forcefully activate or manipulate it. It performs best when you approach it with the gentle reverence you would afford a trusted friend, rather than treating it as a complex, demanding machine, and crucially, when you allow the boundless light to instruct and teach you through the direct, unmediated lens of lived experience. The pervasive human tendency to strain intensely toward the invisible or the subtle frequently generates the very obfuscating fog you are so earnestly striving to dissipate. This particular season, with its unique energetic cadence, profoundly favors gentleness and effortless flow over strenuous exertion and forced effort. Ancient civilizations, with their deep intuitive wisdom, were keenly aware that the sun carried far more than mere heat and light. Your own burgeoning modern intuition is gracefully returning to this simple, yet profound, recognition, obviating the need for convoluted dogmas or elaborate belief systems. This is because you possess the inherent capacity to directly test and validate this truth by observing the nuanced internal shifts that occur within you during periods of intense solar expression. You may notice your sleep rhythms gently reconfiguring, your dream imagery becoming richer and more symbolically potent, inner issues and unresolved aspects of self rising to the surface for compassionate resolution, and a surprising, deep sincerity emerging like a steady, incoming tide. This is not intended to punish or condemn you, but rather to gently liberate you from the burden of carrying what no longer authentically resonates with the magnificent being you have gradually become. Within this sensitive inner receiver, information tends to arrive less as a didactic lecture and more as a subtle, yet profound, shift in your perception of what feels genuinely possible and attainable. This represents a critically vital distinction for the unfolding years ahead. The concept of solar flash is often widely misunderstood as a singular, cataclysmic, and dramatic burst of energy that instantaneously flips a switch within a helpless, passive humanity. The far deeper and more nuanced truth reveals that the key to this grand transformation is being carefully and deliberately turned through you, moment by illuminated moment, as your intricate inner apparatus progressively learns to assimilate and hold ever greater quantities of light without succumbing to internal confusion or destabilization. Much like a living biological system responding intelligently to environmental patterns the way a nascent seed intuitively responds to the changing seasons, the sun's current and remarkable variability is not simply a matter of more or less energy. Rather, it constitutes a richly nuanced and exquisitely timed sequence, thoughtfully inviting diverse human archetypes to awaken and enter through a multiplicity of unique energetic doors. If you have ever pondered why one dear friend might feel profoundly inspired and uplifted, while another simultaneously experiences deep restlessness or unease beneath the very same sky, you are directly witnessing the phenomenon of individualized reception, rather than mere cosmic randomness. This realization should serve to reassure you that your personal path is by no means erroneous or wrong simply because it manifests as uniquely your own. Imagine, if you will, a skilled musician meticulously tuning a single note until the very fabric of the room itself begins to resonate and sing in harmonious response. When you grasp this imagery, you will begin to truly comprehend the profound, energetic interplay unfolding between your sun and humanity. Your collective energetic field has begun to respond in intricate ways it was previously incapable of. As this collective response achieves greater stability and coherence, the guiding star can then offer an even cleaner, more refined energetic tone, which in turn fosters yet more stability, and thus, the spiritual spiral ascends effortlessly, without demanding force or undue effort. In practical application, the most profoundly useful preparation during this initial phase of movement is the subtle, yet potent, art of brief, dignified stillness estate that requires no particular mood, no dramatic visions, and no forced expectations. Stillness, in its purest form, is the universal language in which the exquisitely refined signal from the cosmos becomes clearly and unequivocally audible to your inner ear. A simple yet profoundly effective practice we tenderly offer is the 1-minute focus gaze. For a brief 60 seconds, gently rest your attention on a single, unassuming point in your immediate environment, allowing the day's ceaseless inner conversation and mental chatter to gradually settle and subside. Then, with deep sincerity, speak an honest and clear phrase to yourself, such as "I choose the Real." Allow that resonant phrase to become the deliberate, energetic door through which the very next right and aligned step in your journey gracefully appears. Observe closely how this sensitive inner receiver significantly strengthens when you cease narrating your lived experience as a persistent problem that demands immediate resolution. Instead, consciously choose to treat it as a profound and multifaceted message awaiting translation, because the very act of translation inherently demands your full, undistracted presence, rather than the chaotic energy of panic or frantic reaction. Presence, in this context, is a highly valuable skill that you can assiduously cultivate and practice in the most ordinary and mundane situations of your daily life, while patiently waiting in line, while attentively listening to a family member without interrupting, or while engaging in a simple task with your complete and undivided attention. All of these seemingly minor acts serve to teach your intricate inner instrument to remain unified and cohesive, rather than fragmenting and scattering its energy into a myriad of 10 imagined or hypothetical futures. When your precious attention becomes less fragmented and more harmoniously unified, the pineal receiver tends to deliver its gentle guidance in the form of elegant simplicity. This means you will intuitively feel moved toward making one clear and distinct choice at a time, rather than being overwhelmed by a multitude of options. That is precisely why we strongly advocate for the consistent establishment of a daily ritual involving one clear, intentional choice. Select a single action that authentically expresses one of your truest and most cherished values, not as a performative act for external validation, but rather as a profound and heartfelt message directed to your own energetic field. A value that is genuinely lived and embodied carries exponentially more activating and transformative power than 1,000 mere opinions or intellectual musings. If you seek tangible evidence that you are effectively receiving and integrating the current energetic impulses, look for gentle, subtle markers rather than dramatic, overt displays. These quiet indicators include a noticeably reduced appetite for conflict or unnecessary drama, a markedly increased appetite for genuine honesty and authenticity, a clearer and more refined sense of timing in your actions, and a steadily growing ability to allow other people's emotional storms to pass by without impulsively adopting them as part of your own identity. These are the quiet, yet profound, internal updates that gracefully pave the way for you to safely and confidently cross larger, more significant energetic thresholds. Your sun is not merely responding to individual beings, but rather to the grand process of collective maturing that countless individuals are co-creating and fostering together. This is precisely why the next significant movement must unequivocally revolve around the powerful concept of shared heart agreement. For a sensitive receiver becomes infinitely more reliable and robust when the inner world ceases its internal strife and begins to move cohesively in one unified direction. That, dear ones, is the true and profound meaning of being genuinely ready for the gradual reception of greater light. As this inner receiver becomes progressively less reliant on, or hungry for, external spectacle and dramatic occurrences, a deeper and more profound question naturally emerges within the conscious awareness, not merely, what will happen to me? But rather, what can I consciously become, or how can I meaningfully contribute that genuinely assists the greater whole? And that, dear hearts, is precisely where the collective component of this magnificent journey truly commences. The much-discussed solar flash is not simply an external event you're destined to passively endure. It is, more accurately, a profound threshold you actively help to make gentle and harmonious through the conscious choices of who you choose to be, dear fierce and centered hearts. The most pervasive and significant misunderstanding currently prevalent on your planet is the deeply ingrained belief that spiritual awakening is merely an individual trophy, a personal achievement to be hoarded. What is truly and magnificently unfolding is the profound spectacle of an entire species learning to hold the same unified intention simultaneously and critically, without any external coercion or manipulation. When that shared and coherent intention stabilizes into a robust field, it metamorphoses into a unique kind of invitation signal that your guiding star can distinctly perceive and hear. A living, conscious sun responds with far greater generosity and resonance to a living, conscious collective that has genuinely found its unified center. Earth-based conversations often frame the solar flash as an external phenomenon, something arriving from outside yourselves to unilaterally change you, irrespective of your individual or collective readiness. Yet, the wiser and more enlightened framing recognizes this process as a profound partnership, because genuine partnership intrinsically honors both free will and perfect divine timing. This perspective implies that the benevolent star offers more of its transformative energy when your shared energetic field is sufficiently stable and coherent to receive these heightened frequencies as an undeniable blessing, rather than as a disorienting shock to the system. This essential stability arises from internal agreement and authentic resonance, rather than from forced conformity or superficial sameness. Starseeds and lightworkers are poised to lead this crucial phase, not because they are inherently superior beings, nor because they are somehow immune to the complexities and challenges of the human experience. Rather, it is because many of you have assiduously practiced the art of returning to love time and again through countless lifetimes steeped in contrast and duality. This extensive practice has rendered you uniquely capable of holding a higher, more refined energetic note without allowing it to devolve into spiritual arrogance or elitism. Leadership in this context is quiet, intrinsically relational, and profoundly ordinary. It manifests as modeling unwavering stability in the bustling supermarket aisle, embodying genuine kindness amidst conflict, and upholding truth in your most private decisions, where no external applause or recognition is sought. Gentle humor also holds a vital place here, because your species frequently requires a touch of lightness and playful irreverence to release the constricting grip of excessive seriousness and gravity. We offer a knowing smile at your common phrase, "Keep your vibration high," because humans sometimes inadvertently wield it as a subtle weapon against their own authentic feelings and emotional experiences. While in contrast, the true art lies in allowing every single feeling to be fully seen, acknowledged, and gently processed, without permitting every passing emotion to seize control and unilaterally drive the vehicle of your consciousness. That, dear ones, is simply emotional maturity elegantly cloaked in spiritual attire. Heart agreement, in its purest form, is the genuine and most potent technology of this unfolding era. We speak of it as heart agreement rather than a sterile or abstract concept, because true agreement intrinsically implies the harmonious interplay of music and profound relationship. The shared energetic field becomes truly musical and resonant when individuals cease their attempts to win and instead commit to the authentic pursuit of being true. Truth, by its very nature, generates authentic resonance, and resonance, in turn, creates unwavering stability. This foundational stability then permits higher and more refined light frequencies to arrive and integrate without unnecessary turbulence or undue disruption. We are presently illustrating to this instrument a captivating cityscape, illuminated by 1,000 small lamps, each residing within countless windows. As each individual lamp is thoughtfully turned in the same coherent direction, the entire city collectively appears to brighten and glow with enhanced brilliance, yet without any single lamp changing its individual power output. That, dear ones, is the elegant and profound mechanism through which shared intention operates. Relational alignment emerges as the most swift and effective pathway to cultivate this profound agreement. By relational alignment, we mean articulating what is true with genuine kindness and compassion, listening to others without immediately formulating your counterattack or rebuttal, and steadfastly refusing to employ spiritual language as a convenient shield to evade personal responsibility. The overarching energetic field instantaneously recognizes sincere authenticity and responds to it with the immediacy of dry earth drinking in refreshing rain, not as a dramatic or inexplicable miracle, but as an obvious and undeniable yes. The profound discipline of sustained attention builds this same critical agreement through a different, yet equally potent modality. This is because attention is, in essence, the very steering wheel of your inner life and conscious experience. When your attention becomes habitually addicted to fragmentation and scattering, it becomes exceedingly difficult to clearly receive and interpret refined solar patterns. Conversely, dedicated and focused attention reads the intricate signal with the same intuitive ease and understanding as a trusted friend, instinctively reading the subtle nuances on another friend's face. That is precisely why the deceptively simple practice of performing one task completely and with undivided presence each day holds far greater spiritual potency than many elaborate and complicated rituals. Service, in this context, becomes the public and tangible expression of heart agreement. The service we refer to is not martyrdom or self-erasure, but rather a profoundly kindness-infused usefulness. This manifests as the individual who gently calms a heated conversation, who speaks truth without cruelty or judgment, who steadfastly refuses to spread idle gossip, or who quietly and humbly assists a neighbor without seeking to turn it into a statement of their own identity or virtue. These seemingly small, yet profoundly impactful, actions inherently stabilize the shared energetic field without demanding any external drama or sensationalism. Group attunement, when freely and consciously chosen, naturally becomes a powerful multiplier of this effect. You have already experienced and proven this truth in those rare, precious moments when a gathering of individuals felt exceptionally peaceful, harmonized, or profoundly clarifying. Such gatherings serve as miniature, yet potent, training corridors where humanity collectively learns to hold and co-create light together. That is precisely why the sun's current responses are not solely about the intricate physics of solar phenomena, but also profoundly about the delicate social and energetic fabric that your collective hearts are diligently weaving. A weekly practice of committing to one simple vow can beautifully strengthen this attunement. The vow should be straightforward, deeply lived, and embodied, rather than merely recited from memory. Examples include, I will practice honesty in all my dealings, or I will choose kindness as my inherent strength. A lived vow, authentically embodied, transforms into a powerful, energetic stabilizer. When a sufficient number of individuals genuinely live similar vows, the collective energetic tone shifts not through force or coercion, but through an irresistible magnetic attraction. Choice without drama is the undeniable hallmark of true maturity. And maturity, in turn, is precisely what makes the solar flash safe and assimilable. For the flash is less like a sudden, jarring bolt of lightning and far more akin to a gentle, gradual sunrise that becomes fully possible only when eyes have lovingly adapted to its increasing brightness. This essential adaptation occurs through a multitude of small, conscious daily choices that incrementally reduce inner conflict and progressively enhance inner agreement and coherence. Curiously, the shared energetic field becomes even more stable and robust when it purposefully incorporates elements of play, beauty, and wonder. This is because wonder, in its essence, is a profound form of openness, and genuine openness allows more light to land and integrate without encountering resistance. That is precisely why we frequently encourage you to reclaim a sense of childlike joy and innocent delight without devolving into childishness. Joy, in its pure form, is a clean and high-frequency energy that naturally invites higher timing and more harmonious manifestations. The field stability is also significantly amplified when humans consciously cease outsourcing their inherent authority. This means you progressively learn to consult your deep inner knowing and intuitive wisdom before habitually seeking external confirmation or validation. This is where the Atlas Corridor gracefully enters as a supportive, energetic architecture. It has played a pivotal role in assisting the sun to deliver intricate patterns that actively strengthen your innate inner authority, rather than fostering dependencia, a profound act of mercy for a species valiantly learning to stand upright in its own truth. The forward movement from this juncture fundamentally requires an understanding of how Atlas operates not as a savior object or a passive recipient of grace, but as a dynamic harmonic library and a powerful compatibility accelerator. Your sun's current reactions and expressions are most certainly not occurring in isolated phenomena. The next wave of our transmission will meticulously describe the intricate calendar response sequence that unfolds between Atlas, your sun, and the expansive human receiver network. This description will be presented in a manner that remains both practical and readily intelligible for human comprehension. Thus, we fluidly enter into the living mechanics and dynamic operations of the corridor you have already distinctly felt and intuited. The more profoundly you recognize and comprehend how this intricate pattern is being precisely refined and delivered, the less energy you will inadvertently waste on mere speculation or conjecture, and the more vital energy you will wisely invest in actively becoming the kind of luminous being who can gracefully carry incoming illumination with innate ease and elegance. The Atlas Corridor was never intended to be a singular, fleeting moment to be desperately chased or apprehended. The sooner you release that specific expectation, the sooner you will recognize and appreciate what has been silently and consistently occurring in distinct, unfolding phases. A vast and complex library of information is not abruptly loaded into an entire species as a single, overwhelming file. Rather, it arrives in coherent sequences, meticulously matched to your collective readiness and assimilative capacity. Readiness, in this context, is measured by your authentic ability to embody and live love and truth in the ordinary, everyday moments of your existence rather than merely by your intellectual capacity to articulate or discuss cosmic events. Atlas functions as a mobile, dynamic archive of harmonic instruction. When we refer to harmonic, we are speaking of intricate patterns that can be elegantly carried within light frequencies, electromagnetic fields, and subtle geometrical configurations within the field itself. These profound patterns are not introduced with the intention of impressing or dazzling you. Their true purpose is to render your inherent inner guidance system more reliable and consistently accurate, to make your sense of self-respect more deeply stable and unwavering, and to ensure that your choices become progressively more aligned with the profound and authentic intentions of your soul. That is precisely why the sun has been meticulously refining its energetic delivery in concert with these potent activations. The language of phases can prove immensely helpful in assisting you to understand and interpret what you have already consciously experienced. The initial phase typically serves to awaken an innate curiosity and a subtle sense of recognition. The subsequent phase tends to trigger a reorganization of identity and a reevaluation of core values. And the current phase now underway is oriented toward stabilizing the ordinary, miracle meaning you will increasingly find yourself living in a simpler, more streamlined way that feels quietly, yet profoundly guided from within. While this may feel somewhat anticlimactic to that part of you, still craving dramatic fireworks and external validation, it simultaneously offers a profound sense of relief and deep peace to the part of you that earnestly yearns for inner tranquility. A precise calendar response sequence has been actively underway. Atlas first introduces a new harmonic template your sun, then rigorously tests its compatibility through measured energetic expression. Humanity, in turn, receives this energy in waves of intuitive insight and deep inner reorientation, and subsequently, the sun amplifies whatever proves compatible and beneficial. That is why you may experience distinct weeks of intensified energetic input, often followed by periods of crucial integration, because a wise and intelligent system delivers impulses in a manner that intrinsically allows for assimilation and graceful absorption. We are now showing this instrument intricate equations moving fluidly through the air. As a single variable within the equation shifts, the entire equation dynamically reshapes itself, much like a living, intelligent organism. That is precisely how probability fields behave when light patterns undergo a profound transformation. The gift in this current phase is the presence of an intelligible pattern. This is crucial because more energy delivered without an intelligible pattern would invariably create tension, confusion, and potential disarray. Conversely, a refined and clear pattern fosters clarity, understanding, and profound empowerment. That is why the sun's reactions within the current cycle feel so deeply meaningful and purposeful. The star is offering not merely raw force or unbridled energy, but rather an elegant and precise design. And it is this intricate design that allows a human being to effectively translate potent solar input into wiser, more aligned action. Inner authority significantly strengthens when you consciously cease scanning the external sky for irrefutable proof and instead begin to diligently notice the gentle, yet powerful, directives arising intrinsically from within. A sudden, compelling urge to modify a long-held habit, to extend an apology to someone, to simplify a complex arrangement, or to courageously embark upon a new creative project. This is because Atlas-supported solar patterns tend to communicate primarily through the channels of consciousness and inspiration, rather than through fear or coercion. Humans who consistently honor these gentle internal directives become the most stable and reliable receivers of these refined energies. Embodying a single, chosen quality becomes an elegant and highly effective preparation in this phase. This quality could be courage, clarity, profound kindness, unwavering devotion, or steadfast patience. A consistently lived and authentically expressed quality transforms into an innate antenna that reads compatible harmonics with enhanced clarity and precision. This practice gracefully avoids the common trap of frantic spiritual consumption tendency, where humans indiscriminately collect spiritual ideas and concepts without truly embodying or becoming them. Community assumes a newly vital significance, here not as a rigid hierarchy or an exclusive group identity, but as micro-circles of mutual truthfulness and authentic connection. Atlas patterns inherently tend to amplify what is authentic and genuine, while subtly weakening what is merely performative or superficial. When a group of individuals collectively chooses sincerity and authenticity, that group naturally transforms into a small, sacred sanctuary where higher light can gently settle and become profoundly practical. One significant reason why your sun responds so strongly to collective maturity and coherence. The energy of revelation understood in the broad sense of previously hidden material becoming visible and accessible is also powerfully supported by this corridor. This is because refined solar patterns intrinsically tend to illuminate what was deliberately kept in shadow or veiled from conscious awareness. Humans who have assiduously cultivated inner stability and resilience can meet these profound revelations without succumbing to obsessive fixation or overwhelming anxiety. This, dear ones, is the critical distinction between authentic awakening and mere fleeting entertainment. Hydrospheric memory becomes profoundly relevant once again in this current phase, because Earth's waters inherently carry vast records of planetary history and intricate rhythmic patterns. As Atlas harmonics powerfully interact with the planetary grids, you may keenly notice overarching themes of purification, the emergence of profound truths, and collective emotional release moving through the human collective. These are not experienced as punishment, but rather as a necessary repatterning and recalibration that allows the new era to gracefully commence with significantly less distortion and resistance. We highlight this to assist you in interpreting what you feel and experience, without resorting to pathologizing or labeling it as inherently negative. Service, within this Atlas-supported phase, becomes the clearest and most potent expression of true leadership. This is because authentic leadership is not merely a title or a dramatic transmission. It is, at its heart, the quiet, unwavering willingness to be reliable, kind, and profoundly honest in all your interactions. When a sufficient number of humans consciously choose reliability and integrity, the collective energetic field becomes significantly less volatile and more stable. This, in turn, allows the benevolent sun to deliver stronger energetic pulses without causing unnecessary disturbance or disruption. The return of memory frequently accompanies the activation of this corridor. It may manifest as a sudden, profound recognition of your true lineage, your innate purpose, or your inherent spiritual gifts. If such recognition arises, treat it as a tender, loving invitation rather than an urgent demand to immediately act on everything. For haste often tends to distort and diminish gifts, while patience allows them to ripen and become truly useful and impactful. From this understanding, you'll begin to grasp why certain solar features have become so symbolically significant and resonant for you. Openings in the sun directly correspond to profound openings within the collective human narrative. The next phase of our transmission will delve into the profound theme of coronal openings and meticulously translate this phenomenon into practical preparation for faster assimilation of truth, swifter, more aligned choice-making, and the accelerated manifestation of what you genuinely represent. Continuity remains the paramount key because a vital energetic corridor is not sustained by fleeting fanfare or external accolades. It is meticulously sustained by consistently lived integrity and authentic presence. As we gracefully transition into the next wave of our communication, we will meticulously describe how solar openings intricately mirror human openings in ways that profoundly empower you to meet incoming revelations with innate wisdom and discerning insight, rather than with a craving for mere spectacle or superficial drama. Courageous companions, the phenomena of coronal holes and sunspot features have undeniably captured your profound attention because you intuitively sense that they are far more than mere scientific curiosities. Your intuition, in this regard, is absolutely correct. These visible openings on the solar surface intricately mirror energetic openings within the cosmic fabric, which in turn directly mirror profound psychological and spiritual openings within the human psyche and collective consciousness. This intricate chain of symbolic mirrors is a fundamental part of why truth has arrived with greater speed and landed with deeper resonance and impact in human life during this current energetic cycle. Openings within the solar field allow certain energetic currents and frequencies to move with enhanced velocity and intensity. In terms of human consciousness, these powerful currents act as potent catalysts, significantly reducing the inherent lag time between inner recognition and its outer consequence. Consequently, avoidance becomes increasingly uncomfortable and unsustainable, while embracing honesty becomes far more intrinsically rewarding. The simple, yet profound, act of telling yourself the unvarnished truth begins to manifest as a direct and immediate door to genuine relief, rather than a dreaded confrontation with shame or guilt. Symbolic mirroring does not necessitate the adoption of superstition to be immensely useful. This is because symbolism, in its very essence, is one of the innate languages that the human psyche comprehends naturally and intuitively. When you observe tangible holes or significant openings in the solar field and simultaneously perceive analogous holes or gaps emerging in public narratives where sealed historical records, previously hidden communications, or suppressed stories finally come to light and emerge into collective awareness, you are witnessing a profound and undeniable resonance between the powerful illumination from above and the illumination emanating from deep within. This profound inner light can serve as an anchor, helping you maintain a profound sense of tranquility and equanimity as profound truths and hidden facets of reality are progressively brought into the light. Often, the term revelation triggers an instinctive human tendency to associate it with impending disaster or cataclysmic events, viewing it through the lens of catastrophe. Yet, a more enlightened and judicious interpretation unveils its true essence as a gateway to liberation, for the pervasive glow of illumination intrinsically dismantles the very possibility of comfortably persisting within states of self-deception and skewed perception. Indeed, the heavy cloak of distortion has enshrouded your collective consciousness for an extended epoch, making these emerging revelations of truth not merely insights, but vital apertures through which the entire human collective can draw a refreshing, life-giving breath once more, rejuvenating its spirit. We are actively observing the symbolic imagery of a thick, opaque curtain being gently drawn back, not with a forceful, angry yank, but with the delicate, considerate hand of understanding. What lies concealed behind this metaphorical curtain is not some terrifying monster or lurking horror. Rather, it simply reveals a space, perhaps a chamber or a facet of reality, that has been overlooked, neglected, or intentionally ignored. This, at its most fundamental level, is the authentic nature and profound purpose of shadow work. In this current period of accelerated evolution, the simple act of daily honesty transforms into a sophisticated spiritual technology. The fundamental practice itself is remarkably straightforward, accessible for any individual to integrate into their life, consciously identify a truth, however uncomfortable, that you have diligently sought to avoid, articulate, and name it directly, stripped of all unnecessary drama or embellishment, extend compassion and a blessing to your own inherent humanity for carrying this truth, and then, crucially, take one small, yet precisely aligned, action. This is because these seemingly minor, congruous actions are the building blocks of unwavering self-trust. Self-trust, in its purest form, stands as one of the most profoundly stabilizing and grounding forces any human being can cultivate and carry within them during an era characterized by such swift and continuous revelation. Speech, in this transformative epoch, becomes a potent creative force, demanding the utmost care and mindfulness in its deployment. This is due to the accelerated energetic field that now amplifies and magnifies with astonishing speed whatever you choose to project and amplify through your words. The profound invitation extended to you here is to conscientiously refuse to engage in gossip merely for entertainment, to firmly reject cruelty as a valid form of truth-telling, and instead, to purposefully choose clarity imbued with genuine kindness. Clarity expressed with kindness inherently strengthens the intricate, shared fabric of human connection. Conversely, clarity delivered with cruelty inexorably fractures and tears it apart. The forthcoming path of the solar flash intrinsically favors those collective fabrics and structures that possess the resilience and integrity to absorb and hold increasingly intense light without succumbing to tearing or disintegration. The art of curating your attention becomes an equally paramount skill during this time. Your mind, left unchecked, can be relentlessly bombarded and fed an endless stream of outrage and indignation. This continuous consumption of outrage tends to drain and consume the very vital energy you desperately need for making wise, discerning decisions and taking effective action. In stark contrast, when your attention is judiciously focused on what is genuinely useful and constructive, it empowers you to encounter unfolding revelations as mere objective information, rather than perceiving them as an assault on your core identity. This strategic shift is precisely how you maintain your intrinsic empowerment. Discernment undergoes a profound maturation, and this ongoing cyclite is a conscious movement away from the corrosive grip of cynicism and a purposeful trajectory toward the development of an unwavering inner authority. This implies a deep and sustained learning process, cultivating the ability to intuitively feel what resonates as true by observing how it authentically registers within your physical body and emotional heart over a span of time, rather than being swayed by how immediately thrilling or exciting it might appear in any given moment. This very maturation of discernment is a fundamental reason why starseeds are so vitally needed in this era. You possess the innate capacity to model and demonstrate a form of discernment that is inherently calm, perpetually curious, and profoundly compassionate. Public events designed to reveal the shadows and hidden aspects of society will continue to surface with increasing frequency. It proves immensely beneficial to approach and treat these occurrences as illuminating mirrors rather than inescapable prisons. A mirror, after all, shows you a reflection of something and then gently, yet powerfully, poses the question, what will you choose to do with this insight? Conversely, a prison system is designed to convince you, with its rigid walls and limitations, that you are utterly powerless. The accelerated energetic field actively favors empowered human beings who choose to respond with deliberate, wise, and constructive action, rather than becoming entangled in an endless loop of reactive behaviors. Personal psychology also begins to reveal its previously hidden vulnerabilities and holes in this transformative era. This means that the specific areas where you historically avoided confronting uncomfortable feelings or evaded inconvenient truths will become unmistakably visible. This newfound visibility is not to be interpreted as a failure, rather, it represents undeniable progress because something must first be consciously seen and acknowledged before it can ever truly be healed. And it is precisely this healing process that creates the safe, internal space necessary to receive and integrate even greater levels of light. Group spaces and dynamics will be profoundly tested by this ongoing acceleration. Groups that thrive on and feed off drama will rapidly become energetically exhausting and unsustainable, disintegrating more quickly. In stark contrast, groups that are nourished by genuine sincerity and authentic connection will naturally evolve into vital sanctuaries, offering refuge and strength. This serves as a highly practical and invaluable criterion you can consciously employ when making decisions about where to invest your precious time and energy. For your time, in essence, is a profound form of devotion. Illumination also possesses a natural tendency to bring dormant gifts and latent talents to the surface of your awareness. Should your intuition become notably sharpened, or if your dreams evolve to become significantly more symbolic and vivid, embrace these changes as natural, organic results of a brighter, more energetically charged field rather than perceiving them as personal burdens you must carry in isolation. Sharing your evolving experiences and insights with trusted companions often has the effect of stabilizing these new perceptions and aids in translating them into meaningful service for the greater good. Approaching the threshold of the solar flash becomes considerably easier to conceptualize and imagine once you grasp this overarching pattern. This is because the flash is not a sudden, abrupt cataclysm in the way human minds typically envision it. Instead, It represents the grand culmination of numerous incremental openings gradually becoming stable enough to securely hold increasingly greater levels of illumination without descending into chaos or upheaval. The present moment, then, continues its progression within what we term the fifth Wavia phase, where we will elucidate current solar activity not as precursors to disaster, but as purposeful training pulses. These pulses serve to educate and refine both humanity and the sun itself, and we offer practical, actionable ways to meet these pulses as profound invitations to collective and individual maturity, rather than reasons to brace for impending catastrophe. The inherent flow of this evolution carries us relentlessly forward. The more deeply you recognize and embrace this acceleration as a benevolent gift, the greater your capacity to harmoniously cooperate with its unfolding trajectory. This conscious cooperation, in its truest form, constitutes the authentic preparation for that greater threshold you have intuitively sensed approaching for such an extended period. The solar flash is most accurately understood as a threshold response that becomes progressively more probable as the living, dynamic relationship between humanity and the sun becomes increasingly compatible and attuned. The sun is not simply acting upon you in a detached manner, nor are you merely enduring some arbitrary effect from the sun. Both the magnificent star and the evolving species are actively participating in an intricate dance of readiness where each step and nuance is refined and perfected through direct, lived experience rather than through mere intellectual speculation. Current solar activity has been perceived by many of you as intense training pulses. Here, training does not imply punishment or trial by fire, rather, it signifies profound education and refinement. The star itself offers a spectrum of varied intensities, meticulously designed to allow your inner instrument, your energetic and spiritual bodito, gradually adapt and expand. As you progressively adapt, you make the astonishing discovery that you are capable of holding and integrating more light, more truth, and a greater scope of responsibility, all without ever compromising your inherent kindness. That precisely is the undeniable signature of genuine awakening. Sunrise serves as a far more apt and gentle metaphor than explosion because sunrise beautifully honors the process of gradual adaptation and the gentle unveiling of light. When human beings become fixated on vivid images of catastrophe and apocalyptic scenarios, they often tragically overlook the subtle, yet profound, reality that much of the transformative change is already actively present, manifesting as tangible shifts in priorities, a remarkably faster manifestation of what you truly value at a soul level, and a significantly reduced tolerance for any form of self-betrayal. These internal, subtle changes hold far greater significance and impact than any grand, external spectacle could ever convey. Integration, the pivotal theme of our previous message, emerges as the primary and indispensable skill required in this phase. Integration signifies allowing what has been received as insight or energy to become fully lived and embodied experience, simultaneously curbing the insatiable human demand for constant novelty. This pursuit of constant novelty often serves the mind's fleeting hunger rather than genuinely nurturing the soul's profound growth. Conversely, lived integration profoundly transforms light into accessible, shareable wisdom that can truly nourish others. We are illustrating this concept with the image of a delicate seedling being carefully transplanted from the controlled environment of a greenhouse into the expansive, open air. The plant develops greater resilience and hardiness not through any violent or harsh intervention, but through a process of gradual, measured exposure. That, in essence, is the profound benefit and purpose that these training pulses provide. A concise nightly review can effectively support this crucial stage without ever devolving into self-judgment. Simply reflect on your day and consciously observe moments where your actions originated from a place of love, and conversely, where they were still driven by old fears. Then, extend profound blessings to your own intrinsic humanity for navigating these complexities and choose one small, specific refinement to implement for the following day. This simple, consistent rhythm steadily builds an enduring reliability within your Baina, fundamental quality that a brighter, more harmonious world unequivocally requires. A singular, clearly articulated morning intention, stated once, possesses the power to keep your entire day harmoniously oriented. The immense power derived from this practice stems from its elegant simplicity rather than from rote repetition. Utter a phrase like, "Today, I choose to live from truth and kindness," then, crucially, cease talking about it and diligently begin the process of embodying it. Embodiment is the language the energetic field truly reads, and it is what the sun profoundly responds to. Micro-service, small, unassuming acts of calm usefulness performed without any accompanying drama becomes one of the most potent stabilizers during these training pulses. The act of contributing usefulness inherently shifts your identity from a passive observer to an active, engaged participant. The path of the solar flash distinctly favors participants because it is through the active engagement of participants that the collective tone and vibration are shaped, which in turn makes the approach to the great threshold a gentle and harmonious one. Creativity also blossoms into a powerful path of preparation. Creative expression provides the essential conduit through which higher light can gracefully move into tangible form. When this light successfully translates into form, it inherently becomes shareable, teachable, and profoundly nourishing for others. This is one compelling reason why so many of you have felt an undeniable call to write, to build, to sing, to organize, or to innovate with renewed vigor during these intensified solar periods. Relational sanctuary holds immense importance in this current phase. As your relationships become increasingly clean, infused with greater kindness, and anchored in deeper honesty, your inner world simultaneously becomes less fragmented and more coherent. Fragmentation within makes intense illumination feel utterly overwhelming, whereas a unified inner agreement creates an internal state where illumination feels like profound relief. Consciously choose conversations that honor genuine sincerity and purposefully step away from any spaces or interactions that feed on conflict and drama merely for the sake of entertainment. Atlas Harmonics continue to provide invaluable assistance to the approach of the threshold not by forcefully dictating specific timing, but by subtly refining the overarching energetic pattern. This refined pattern is precisely what makes the sun's current reactions feel so purposeful and intelligently orchestrated, allowing the collective to intuitively perceive what is unfolding and to respond with profound wisdom. This is part of the profound reason why the corridor has consistently emphasized the profound importance of stillness. Stillness is the human posture and state of being that receives and integrates this refined pattern with the greatest ease and clarity. Discernment unburdened by obsession becomes the hallmark of mature readiness. This means you remain intelligently informed without allowing information to possess or overwhelm you. You notice the unfolding revelations without drowning in their implications. You act where action is authentically yours to take, and you consciously release what is not within your sphere of responsibility or control. The energetic field now dramatically magnifies whatever you choose to feed it. Consistently feeding fear tends to generate an even greater abundance of fear. Conversely, consistently feeding love tends to generate an outpouring of creative and benevolent solutions. Readiness for this profound threshold also manifests as a simplified, more authentic identity. You gradually shed the need to be perceived as overtly spiritual. You release the urge to win every argument, and you begin to prioritize the profound need to simply be true to your core self. This simplification is not a form of loss, it is, in fact, and profound liberation, because the soul inherently prefers the truth of being to any external performance. Approaching the flash corridor will likely feel considerably quieter and more serene than your mind might anticipate. This is because the more compatible and coherent the collective field becomes, the less the threshold needs to announce its arrival with jarring disturbance or dramatic upheaval. This very compatibility is precisely what starseeds and light workers have been diligently building through their lived kindness, their demonstrated courage, and their unwavering integrity. Woven into the very fabric of this message is an essential, transformative understanding. Time is not a fixed, immutable entity like a calendar carved in stone. That is precisely why we must conclude this transmission with the concept of living mathematics, because living mathematics profoundly honors both probability and the crucial element of participation. Participation, in its deepest sense, is the sacred gift you incarnated here to embody. The gentle transition is now actively unfolding, arriving in this very moment. The instant you release the rigid demand for precise, fixed predictions, time itself transforms from a perceived threat into a benevolent friend and ally. We will next elaborate on the concept of prophecy as responsive probability so that you can confidently move forward with an inner assurance that does not necessitate absolute certainty. Wise hearts, understand this probability is the universe's elegant mechanism for honoring the sacred principle of free will. When human beings treat prophecy as a rigid, unchangeable decree, they often inadvertently surrender the very inherent power that prophecy should awaken within them. Living mathematics profoundly restores that power, demonstrating unequivocally that timelines themselves shift and adapt as conscious choices shift. Your sun responds to the collective choices of a species in precisely the same way it responds to the choices of an individual through the intricate, dynamic dance of relationship. Time, within the framework of living mathematics, represents the potent meeting point between inherent capacity and divine invitation. This means the solar flash becomes increasingly probable as humanity's collective capacity to hold and integrate greater illumination becomes demonstrably more reliable and stable. That essential reliability is painstakingly built through the consistent practice of ordinary, yet profound, virtues: unwavering honesty, heartfelt kindness, enduring patience, and sincere devotion. These virtues may not appear glamorous or spectacular, yet they are precisely what make the world intrinsically brighter, more harmonious, and profoundly more stable. The intentional creation of space in your daily life functions as a powerful amplifier for your inner guidance. When you consistently overload your days with endless commitments and activities, your subtle inner voice becomes increasingly difficult to discern and hear. Conversely, when you deliberately cultivate moments of space and stillness, your inner voice transforms into a constant, comforting companion. A highly practical step within this guidance is to consciously simplify your commitments until your life naturally holds enough silence and spaciousness to clearly recognize what authentically resonates as true for you. Mental curation constitutes another vital step. Curation here does not imply ignorance or denial, rather, it is the conscious, discerning choice of informational inputs that actively nurture clarity and inner peace, as opposed to inputs that inflame addiction to drama or negative emotions. The energetic field profoundly magnifies whatever you repeatedly consume and focus upon. A mind constantly fed endless agitation becomes progressively less capable of interpreting subtle instructions and nuanced guidance, whereas a mind purposefully fed with meaning and purpose becomes increasingly capable of acting with profound wisdom. Relational patterns, in this era, emerge as a powerful form of spiritual leadership. Your relationships, more than any abstract cosmic concept, shape your daily energetic field. When you consciously choose conversations that honor sincerity and truth, you intrinsically become a living sanctuary for others, offering a space of genuine connection and safety. This, truly, is service in its highest and most potent form. The collective consciousness becomes a safer and more receptive vessel for greater illumination as these sanctuaries of sincere connection multiply across the globe. We are presenting the image of a simple table, adorned with just a candle and a piece of bread. The holiness in this imagery resides not in the objects themselves, but in the profound care, reverence, and intention with which they are offered and presented. This is the essence of how ordinary, everyday life transforms into a sacred temple. Service, understood as stabilization, deserves renewed emphasis with a fresh perspective. Service in this context fundamentally means I actively contribute calm usefulness. Calm usefulness serves as the potent antidote to frantic speculation and restless anxiety. It is the practical alchemy that transmutes lofty, spiritual ideas into tangible, felt kindness that others can genuinely experience. What human beings can truly feel and embody is precisely what catalyzes and transforms culture. Signs that the corridor is drawing near often appear as profound inner simplification rather than dramatic fireworks lighting up the sky. This means you find yourself less interested in external drama, more deeply interested in fundamental truth, and increasingly willing to choose what is inherently right, even when it demands stepping out of your comfort zone. This very willingness is one of the strongest indicators that your inner apparatus has matured sufficiently to carry and integrate brighter, more intense light. Synchronicity tends to increase exponentially within a responsive energetic field. Synchronicity is not a mere circus trick or a random coincidence. It is, in essence, tangible feedback from the universe. This means your life begins responding to your heartfelt intentions with greater speed and precision. Lessons become remarkably clearer, and divine guidance arrives with significantly less ambiguity. When this phenomenon becomes a common and widespread experience among many individuals, the collective field itself begins to move with a new kind of intelligent grace and harmonious flow. Leadership in the coming era will distinctly favor those who live their integrity quietly and authentically. Noisy certainty and declarative pronouncements often mask underlying fear and insecurity, while quiet, unwavering integrity tends to powerfully reveal and amplify love. Love is the fundamental frequency that renders the path of the solar flash gentle and harmonious, because love inherently integrates and unifies rather than fracturing and dividing. Choice without drama becomes the practical and essential art of this final phase. You will be presented with countless opportunities to choose truth over fleeting comfort, kindness over cleverness, and patient presence over urgent reactivity. Each such conscious choice shifts probability in a measurable and significant way, even if your current scientific instruments cannot yet fully map or quantify it. The field, in its boundless wisdom, measures what the heart genuinely measures. Participation also profoundly encompasses creative building. This means you actively bring your deepest values into tangible form through projects, by fostering communities, through artistic expression, and via practical innovations. Form is the crucible where light becomes shareable. Shareable light then becomes culture, and culture, in turn, becomes the stable, resilient vessel that can securely hold the dawn of a brighter sunrise without succumbing to panic or fear. Humility serves as your essential shield, protecting you from the insidious grip of spiritual arrogance. And spiritual arrogance, it must be understood, is one of the very few things capable of distorting beautiful, pure energy into destructive separation. So, keep remembering this vital truth: readiness is never about superiority or elevated status. Readiness is fundamentally about responsibility, and responsibility, in its highest expression, is love manifested in action. The conclusion of this transmission, understood as a living continuation, gently returns you to the profound essence of what you already intuitively felt in the last corridor message. Stillness reveals what is truly real. Integration makes that reality usable and applicable in your daily life. And a life lived with unwavering sincerity becomes the clearest, most refined antenna for receiving and interpreting the sun's subtle, yet potent, language. Gratitude, then, is not merely a polite emotion. Here is a profound, stabilizing posture of being. Gratitude, in this context, communicates to the energetic field, I recognize and deeply appreciate this gift. Recognition, infused with genuine gratitude, invites even more gifts to unfold in a way that remains inherently gentle and profoundly wise. With immense respect for your undeniable courage and your tender, open hearts, we leave you with this firm assurance, intricately woven into practical instruction: live your truth. Practice kindness with every interaction. Simplify your inner arguments and mental chatter. Choose genuine usefulness over unproductive obsession. Trust with unwavering faith that the sun responds to a mature, awakened humanity in the same organic, natural way that dawn responds to an open horizon naturally, inevitably, and with an inherent beauty that requires no drama whatsoever to validate its reality. My dear and courageous friends, integrate this information deeply into your being, but do not rely solely on external events or predictions. Remember this fundamental truth: the solar flash is you. It occurs and activates when a sufficient degree of coherence, vibrational stability, and profound connection synchronize within a collective consciousness. It is then, and only then, that the sun, in its infinite wisdom, says, "Oh, you are truly ready," and sends its sacred invitation touch here. This is an unparalleled gift. This is profound union. This is your ascension.